Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about bystander effect and how violence has changed in the digital world. Some other things that we will be relating this to, just so you know what you're getting into. Nazi Germany, ICE raids, AI, desensitization, apathy and empathy, community, education, and more. The bystander effect is a psychological phenomenon where people are less likely to help someone if others are present. That is from Psychology Today 2019. Though there are other resources where you can find this description, and also typically most people do know what the bystander effect is, just in case if you want to learn specifically more about pattern recognition, the bystander effect in 1940s Germany, modern times, and how violence looks different under AI. Bystander effect in 1940s Germany. I can't tell you why this is the first correlation that I made when I was brainstorming, but it was. I'm sure that this standing still, watching, and recording is stuck in my head as ICE continues to terrorize our communities. I've heard a multitude of people expressing the same sentiment. If you ever wondered what you would be doing in 1940s Germany, it's what you're doing right now. While ICE officers repeat they're just following orders, we both know that that won't hold up in court. Still, most of the world seems to be just watching. So many quotes come to mind when dissecting this topic because there are so many pieces of modern society tied to the bystander effect, so forgive me if I use a million of them, but the quote that I think of most often is, "Terrible things are happening outside. Poor helpless people are being dragged out of their homes. Families are torn apart. Men, women, and children are separated. Children come home from school to find that their parents have disappeared." This was written January 13th, 1943, in Frank's diary. First time I read this piece after high school was when a major ice raid devastated my city. Many of the farmers that voted for this then complained that they had no one to work on the lands and that their crops would die. Many of the factories did not allow ice to come in. However, some of them did, and I saw photos of all the workers' lunchboxes left behind in the break room and broke down. I then saw this, and upon reading it, I didn't recognize it at first. I thought someone was writing about their experience that day. I saw some people in my community coming together to offer legal help, pro bono, free childcare, free rides. I saw some of the most hardworking people in my community have to depend on the generosity of very few. Never again means never again for anyone. We have to start caring, start advocating, start organizing, and start acting. I know I can sit here and say these things and you can look at them and turn up your nose and say, of course you get to say that, you're not doing anything, and this is what I realized I can do. Some people offer services pro bono, like I said. Some people organize events, some people gather resources for the community, some get loud and protest to draw attention to the cause, and some still document. Everyone is capable of different things, but we have to do what we can. No amount of trying to control the uncontrollable, but instead using joy as resistance, grace as a guide, and hope and determination to get things done. We have to learn to take attacks on the people around us more seriously. Does it matter what color they are? Does Jesus say, love your neighbor as yourself, only if he's white and conservative, though? No. There are multiple verses in the Bible in which he says, love your neighbor as yourself. Leviticus 19:18 says, you shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You shall not take vengeance. If someone does something harmful to you directly, you take it up with the individual. Everyone has implicit biases that lead them to wariness around people that look like the people who have hurt them. From a previous writing, I said, some people are not safe with guns, but that doesn't mean that there aren't some people who feel more comfortable in the ability to protect their families when they are armed. Do those people not deserve to feel protected in their household? No. But does every person need to be able to get their hands on a weapon? Also, no. Some men are not safe with children and would do disturbing things to manipulate situations to facilitate their mistreatment, but that doesn't mean every person presenting male deserves immediate hostility based on what your perceptions of a predator is. And this is different from being wary. Some snakes are poisonous, but not all. That doesn't mean I'm going to get close up and personal with just any snake. For me, I realized my biases, especially so towards men and white men. A lot of them I'm still cautious in early interactions. I realized I had to judge them based upon their character instead of just determining that they were dangerous because they're a man. I'm still not meeting a man off the internet without giving someone my location, though. If you allow your history to determine the level of kindness you offer, it's like you're allowing the situations to win power over the rest of your life. alive. Furthermore, the Bible tells us, each of you must bring a gift in proportion to the way the Lord your God has blessed you. Deuteronomy 16:17. If you truly believe that God has not blessed you with enough to provide for your family and yourself, consider looking into what resources are available in your area or working together to build a community pantry. Some days we have more to give, and those days we should give what we are able. Some days we need to receive, and that is okay too. This is why we have to work together to care about each other's problems. You cannot expect a village without accepting that you will also have to be a villager. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one else left to speak out for me. Pastor Martin Niemöller. I probably said his name incorrect. There are varying versions of this poem where the organization of the groups is different or socialists are removed, and varying dates of creation. However, one thing stands true. This is a piece that has not been forgotten. You can go after your political enemies in a much easier manner when you have them convinced that one group or the other is the real issue. They keep doing the same things repeatedly, hoping we won't notice, but I see us waking up every day. When we choose not to care, it is to the detriment of everyone. When we choose to first act with kindness, aim for understanding, and work together, it benefits all of us. It seems like an obvious choice, but sometimes someone can hear and understand something that they previously only knew. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. 1905, George Santayana. I probably said that wrong. Again, I've used this quote in a million different other pieces because it seems to just be the thing that ties it all together. Bystander effect in modern times, live streaming death. In modern times, people have recorded others being beaten to death. Pitaro 2019 ignored the screams of victims and look the other way when history repeats itself, or maybe not repeats, but at least rhymes. Take lol cows, for example, someone you milk for laughs, either with or without the knowledge that they are being made fun of. People, obviously not all, please see the nuance in my words, are so used to suffering that they crave seeing it on their screens and can sleep soundly as it happens at their doorsteps. How violence looks different under AI. We have seen many of the ways that AI can be used to harm, but the ones that I found most comparable in this conversation are when AI has been used to make deep fakes and revenge explicit materials. Sorry, I'm trying to find the right words to use to not get this censored or taken down. When AI was used to make a video of Sonia Massey throwing the pot of water that she had on the stove at the cops to be used as a justification in her death, and when AI had been used to falsify evidence and an alibi, there is a normalization of violence with an alarmingly low number of laws and high number of those that cannot discern AI from real life. How has desensitization contributed to all these things? Desensitization ties into all of this. The programming that normalizes these things. People say vile racist things and make it easier for the mildly racist uncles to fly under the radar, but those are the ones that make it happen. The ones that hide their racism are scarier than the ones that show it, because at least you can point a blatant racist out. For example, when we have incredibly racist people in office, the other racists get bolder because they feel comfortable based on the normalization that the political figures created. The internet played a key role in the desensitization of an entire generation. Pieper and Roll Huseman 2008, as well as AI acting as a tool to blur the lines and create higher levels of infighting. Many people saw a lot of graphic stuff while growing up on the internet in its early stages, and a lot of that still hasn't changed. The internet has always been a place for people to find connections. Still, for many, it was an access to abhorrent forums. I knew someone that always talks about this, and the way that they phrased this kind of thing is, it used to be that people would have intercourse with posters and it would be weird, they'd feel ashamed and stop. Now people do that, go online, find a group of all the other toaster effers on the internet and feel good about themselves. This adds to the conversation exponentially when you start to dissect the reality of it. Not everyone has the same moral compass. You have to stop stigmatizing everything you don't understand. If you don't open dialogue and stop shaming people for exploring the world in a safe manner, they will continue to expand to absurd behaviors. I'm not saying that having intercourse with a toaster is okay. I'm saying that we have to have open dialogues of sexual exploration, because that is a normal human, that is a normal thing for people to do. And the more we try to cram it down into a box, the more people have to do it in secret, and they have to get more, they have to lash out, feel something. The internet can influence someone's mental state, and if they cannot recognize that influence or have a stronger influence over their own own mind, then they're more likely susceptible to manipulation. If we stopped normalizing everything, people would be more likely to see how people adjusted their lives for the better with the internet. The desensitization from the internet and AI, the divide from ignoring and not understanding, and all that plays a role in whether people are going to show up for each other. Apathy versus empathy. Apathy is a surefire way to build a divide as well as build up the bystander effect. Hortensius and DeGilder, 2018. If you teach a generation that they have no one to rely on except themselves, create multiple subcategories for themselves to slot themselves into, and convince each one that the other side is the problem, then they won't care if someone else is suffering. They say it's not my job. When a community values empathy, however, it makes it so that it is everyone's job to help. People start to care for the group as a whole, knock down problems in an hour instead of months. The people in my town, when hit by a bad storm, all get up to clean up the debris together. If everyone stood there and said it wasn't their job, they'd have to wait to rely on the city to do everything. And while it's normal to wait for the city to do some things, as a broader network of organized individuals like that within a community is necessary, but it does not need to be a government body to work. Just a group of people that set up the things that smaller groups of people cannot take care of on their own, so that small groups come together when more help is needed. If those people chose to wait, they could risk not getting to work, not seeing their family, not getting groceries, or other necessities for a week, sometimes more. Neuroplasticity, as it relates to feeling like it is our job to help, building a community, and finding our purpose within that community. Neuroplasticity and feeling like it's our job to help. Scientists once thought that the brain was locked in place after puberty, but now technology shows that our brain continues to rewire itself and never stops changing as we age. Cardoso et al. 2022. This means that we can change the way that we think, and we can find accommodations to fit everyone within this society. How it relates to building a community. Among the influences on brain structure and function that are the most powerful in inducing plastic change are social influences. Davidson and McEwen, 2012. This means that the way that we work together makes a dramatic difference in our ability to develop ourselves and our communities. Finding purpose within the community we build. Purpose and community are connected and can help strengthen each other. Finding your purpose can also make it easier to find your role within a community and help in the beginning stages. Purpose and passion are connected but not equivalent. While purpose is why we're here, a passion is a compelling or powerful feeling. Our passions are those things that consume us with palpable emotions, things we love so much we're willing to suffer for them. Those are important, but they don't usually take us all the way to knowing our reason for being. Nurek, 2022. For me, personally, I find purpose in educating. What that means to me is providing my research and resources for free because I think understanding should be a baseline for all societies. I enjoy creating art, practicing divination, sewing, designing, patterning, branding, and so much more. I feel at the current time that those things are not necessities to the revolution, and they are passions, but they aren't my purpose. If we start running out of clothes, which is unlikely, because we have so much textile waste polluting waters in countries in Africa, Nakatha 2023, I would start mending clothes for free. Whatever ways I'm able to help my communities, I want to because I hope when I need them, they will be there for me. Finding what you feel most driven by, what you most enjoy, and applying it to activism is a great way to help build a strong community or strengthen the ones you already have. There was one more article I felt had captured the essence and the role that community plays in finding your purpose. I did not find a quote to use because it's such its own piece. I wanted to include it without putting it into my words. The article is The Importance of Community in Finding Your Purpose, Hassim 2024. How educating yourself plays a role in all of this. If we went into every interaction trying to understand each other and learn things instead of trying to be right or the same all the time, we would find that a lot of the things that we used to argue about are such a non-issue. We would place more value on solving the broader issues within our communities, like helping those less fortunate or disaster relief. Many of the issues and ailments we're suffering from could be solved if we redirected our focus to equity instead of just equality. I want to say thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this piece. I did find it very difficult to write because there is so much connected to the bystander effect that I just couldn't stop going, so hopefully it made sense. If you liked this, let me know, and I will provide my Patreon in the description where you can access this writing to get all the references, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!